Heribert Lange, One Last Café. Kim, Between Love and Murder. Novel. Part 3. Chapter 6. Date at the Thai place.
For so many months now, Olga and I had been meeting, whenever we were both in the city and at work, at Hum's Thai Kitchen, always on Mondays at 8 p.m. Hum opened the door for me personally.
Have been waiting for you. Lady already here.
I thanked him and went to our table, where Olga did indeed seem to have been waiting for me eagerly. Olga looked at me questioningly.
Beer or wine tonight?
Let's take it easy tonight. I'm still half on vacation. Olga raised her hand and waved Hum over to the table.
Please bring us a bottle of that rosé we always love so much, and a wonton soup each to warm us up.
Yes, lady. I bring right away.
And with that, he disappeared briefly to fetch the wine and pass the order to the kitchen. We love these Mondays. The restaurant is usually nearly too full, but on Monday after the weekend, it is always almost empty. Sometimes I think Hum only stays open on Mondays for our sake. Olga and I looked at each other in silence until the filled wine glasses were in front of us. Cheers,
Då!
answered Olga, beaming from ear to ear. She had learned something new and got straight to the point.
How is your father?
Olga always asked about my father first. Why had always remained a mystery to me, but I answered willingly. Not so well anymore. He is seriously worried about the business.
Olga looked at me in surprise.
Yes, the business is not doing as well as it used to. Let me elaborate a little. My parents have been running their family cafe for many years, always as a hub for the families in the neighborhood. The change crept in slowly. First, it was just a small refrigerator offering water. Then came Coca-Cola and other soft drinks. But despite all the changes, the younger generation stayed away more and more. Cell phones and TV changed the social fabric. Young people pushed toward independence and autonomy. They no longer met at the family cafe but gravitated to Starbucks and Highland Coffee to meet with their own kind. Family was out and the clique was in. Where the money once covered the children's education, it was now spent freely on overpriced coffee just to belong. The change cannot be stopped, and now my father is reaching the point where he must face the change or simply give up. Olga looked at her now half-empty glass and nodded thoughtfully.
Yes, I understand that very well. Here too, television back then, and later computers and cell phones, changed society. Unfortunately, also not really for the better here. The bonds of family are being lost, and buddies will never be real friends, the way they used to be, when you truly had to go through thick and thin together.
I nodded in agreement and emptied my glass, setting it aside to make room for the wonton soup. Hum willingly refilled our glasses and withdrew again. The soup was steaming heavily and was therefore still too hot to enjoy. How is your father? I now passed the same question back to Olga.
Not really well either, I'm afraid. Mother thinks he is getting Alzheimer's or dementia.
Thinks? Has he not been to a doctor?
Of course not. If my father avoids anything more than the devil avoids holy water, it is the entire pharmaceutical industry. Mother can't do anything about it, but she fears difficult years ahead.
Lost in thought, we looked at our glasses and raised them in a toast. Here's to things going better for us someday. Yes, at least we had no financial worries. The Collins family had always been known for their wealth. I was doing wonderfully. Not only did I live rent-free in my small, modest apartment, but I could also count the rental income from the entire building as my own. After Sunny had left Germany and married into real wealth, she had also transferred to me the 2 houses available to her in Munich and Hamburg. That was certainly enough to get by on quite comfortably. Olga was doing well too. She had, hard as it might be to believe, already been widowed 3 times at 38 and was still childless. She had enough put away to never worry again. This was where I wanted to step in. How are you doing, actually? Are you thinking about getting married again?
Hey, Casey. I think it's your turn first, isn't it?
She simply brushed the question off the table and turned to her soup, which also put an end to that topic for the time being. I liked this soup and enjoyed it accordingly. A pleasant warmth spread through my body, chasing away not only the cold, but also the gloomy thoughts. When are you finally going to come to Vietnam with me? I asked her out of the blue. Startled, she nearly choked on her soup.
Should I? Or would I have to?
Should I or would I have to? No, that's not what I meant. I think you would love that country too, and would finally have the chance to question my father in person. Though of course I told my parents everything about you again, and they send you their warm regards as always and their sincere wish to welcome you in person one day.
Do they see me as their daughter-in-law? Or have you confessed to them that you're gay?
No, I still haven't. You know how conservative that country still is, I argued, somewhat embarrassed.
I bet your mother has known for a long time and told your father months ago. That would probably put the daughter-in-law off the table.
That would actually be a brilliant idea. During your visit, to just casually ask my mother whether I like men, since I would be treating you not as a woman, but only as a very good friend.
You want me to pull the chestnuts out of the fire for you. I do almost anything for you, but this toad you'll have to swallow on your own, and I am quite sure that neither your head will be torn off, nor your future inheritance revoked, which you don't need anyway.
When I said nothing further, she continued.
Quite the contrary. You should take some of the burden off your parents and relieve them of their worries. It would be easy enough to support them.
I have long since offered, but they are still too proud to accept help. And that, even though in Vietnam, without any social safety net in old age, this kind of thing is everyday custom. We pushed our bowls aside almost simultaneously.
Duck good? All good?
Asked Olga, steering toward the choice of main course. Yes, duck is good. For me, please, with water spinach.
I'll join you in that today.
With duck good, all good, we let the evening wind down with lighter conversation.
Chapter 7. Eddie.
Eduard von Duckstein was in the best of moods, having just managed to save his future marital bliss in the nick of time. It had come back to him just in time, the conversation from yesterday morning in which Imona had mentioned the hairdresser. Of course he had not noticed the slightest change and would likely have had to spend the evening alone on the sofa with bread and water had the realization not struck him to lavishly admire her new hairdo. And so both dinner and a wonderful night were secured, one that had been interrupted all too soon by the alarm clock.
Imona Milosh, what a wonderful creature you are.
Smiling to himself, he nearly missed Olga placing his morning coffee on the desk. He quickly added a
Thank you, my dear,
to her departing back, already thinking of the kisses of the night before. He gave himself a resolute shake. Letting yesterday pass by almost uneventfully was one thing, but now he had a case, and had had one since Friday. It was time to get to work, for duty called. Olga, the diligent soul, had already on Monday organized the notes he had taken during his conversation with Anna Wilhelmina and put them into coherent sentences. These now lay directly in front of him, and he reached for them. Anna had been completely honest, had laid out her request without holding back, and asked for discreet but effective help. She was more than tired of this marriage. Only his money would keep her in it, but she no longer wanted it at that price. She had the great fortune of having met someone she could truly love. She was fed up with being humiliated by her fat pig of a husband, and when he came home in a foul mood, reeking of cigar smoke, being beaten and often taken against her will. The pig even had a name, Bernhard Bogart, the boss. Ben the boss, as everyone called him, everyone but her. She did not simply want to leave him. He was to pay for all those years. For that, she needed grounds that would make him vulnerable, ideally an affair, or perhaps even several. This would be the solution, would earn her a well-deserved settlement and her freedom. Eddie was to snoop around and see if any dark secrets could be found. Right up his alley. This he could do. This he loved.
Olga, Sunshine, could you search the internet for Bernhard Bogart and bring me whatever you find?
You can save the sunshine for your dear Imona.
Came the reply through the closed door.
Besides, I only sleep at night.
Eddie looked around in bewilderment, and even out the window, though there was nothing to see there.
What do you mean by at night?
Oh, Eddie.
Olga now said more quietly through the open door.
Some papers have two sides. Other documents have multiple pages. Do make the effort to read all the pages. I already included all of that.
The mumbled apology was so garbled and quiet that even he himself could not understand it. Eddie reached for the documents again, and now read the following pages as well, paying attention to possible reverse sides. By initial assessment, Ben, a mogul in the pharmaceutical industry, had a largely clean record. He had only come to attention through minor bar brawls and a considerable number of parking tickets, all of which had been paid. From time to time, he played the philanthropist and made media-friendly donations to kindergartens and hospitals. Otherwise, he appeared to be largely an unknown quantity. His wife was not mentioned anywhere, not even in passing. This called for detective work from the ground up. The last page contained a map excerpt on which his place of residence had been marked. He pocketed it and took his leave of Olga with the words,
If nothing else comes up, go ahead and head home too. I probably won't be back here until the end of the week. You can check the messages from home as well, and if there's an emergency, come in.
He walked over to Olga, who had stood up in the meantime, and briefly put his arm around her to apologize once more. After collecting some papers and the keys for the small delivery van from the kitchen, he left the agency.
Chapter 8. Thorsten Kiemann.
Thorsten leaned back relaxed in his chair, held his phone to his ear and waited for Tobias to pick up. In vain. He put the device back on the table and reached for the large mug of hot chocolate that had long since gone cold, its whipped cream topping having long since collapsed. Lost in thought, he drank the overly sweet chocolate. Thorsten had everything prepared and was only waiting for his messenger. He was probably out on his bike again, hearing nothing but his music. He would call back. Thorsten knew him well enough not to get nervous right away or repeat the call. To pass the time, he reached for the stack of newspapers and magazines to check the placed advertisements, Not his actual job, but now and then an extra check from the boss was not out of place. The business and its scope had changed considerably in recent years. Torsten remembered his beginnings, laborious hand delivery, from mailbox to mailbox. Then the first signs appeared with no advertising, no flyers, or just stickers with warding off hands as a sign against unwanted mail. They had paid a bitter price for the lessons learned. Back then his father was still the boss, but he had always been at the company from a young age. Kindergarten was not for him. Later, as a student, he spent his time at the company whenever he had nothing else on and picked up along the way everything that mattered for the work. Many a complaint had to be settled at great expense, but he had learned one thing from it. No matter what happens, the focus must be on the absolute reliability of his guys. Bundles of flyers thrown in the trash or stuffed into mailboxes that did not accept advertising was something you could not afford, both for the sake of his reputation and because of the additional costs. 2 years ago, he had taken over the company and his father stepped back. Of course, he was always ready to help out or fill in for Torsten during vacation time. Then Torsten put more and more emphasis on advertising with magazines and newspapers, no easy field, as many print media had taken over this business through their own advertising departments. You could not really make a good living long-term just from placing special ads like obituaries or Lonely Hearts notices commissioned by awkward fellow citizens. So the internet had to be established as a mainstay, and now things went much further. Creating websites and other such things suddenly became part of it. Now came the shift through the use of AI, yet another field in which you had to fight your way through. He startled when his deep thoughts were interrupted by the ringing of his phone.
Schäfer, what is it that you're calling yourself?
Thanks, Toby, for calling right back. Are you by any chance nearby? We'd need to talk in person. I have a sensitive job for you. Naturally, there'll be good money in it for you again.
No, damn. I'm on the other side of the city.
I didn't catch that second word of yours, but you don't need to repeat it. No problem, you'd probably say. Tomorrow morning is perfectly fine, if you can keep Wednesday free for me then.
Sure, boss. Before getting up, or is it okay if I'm there at 10?
Make it 9:30, buddy.
Torsten could rarely resist slipping into the language of youth.
I'll be there.
With that, the conversation ended.